like?
We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity for the white male over 50. Not sure if that's where the podcast is going to go. I was sharing with Michael in the pre-podcast about how I never know in cloning myself when I should participate and when I shouldn't. I feel like Michael Jordan at times where when I'm playing, sometimes others may not be stepping up as much because I'm in the game. And so when you're star player, not saying I'm star, I'm just saying that when your star player's in, everybody else on the team doesn't, pick up and drive forward. And so, any wisdom on that, Michael?
Yeah, I kind of feel that at times as well. It's like, okay, he knows that I'll be behind him checking on him, and the things they miss, I'll get taken care of one way or another. So you're always, yeah, they know that you're detailed enough and want to make sure things are done well and right, that you're always there to kind of, safety net them. And that's not a good thing because it puts a lot of stress back on you and me.
Yeah, I wonder if I'm alive today because I have so much stress, and I wondered if other people stepped if I might step back and then just die.
Yeah. I know I'm feeling it too. Like I said, I got some things kind of going on, and I thought people were in place to get things done and get things taken care of, and I could, spend a little more time with family and not be hand holding them. And of course, they don't know how to solve this and they don't know how to solve that. They don't have these materials or tools to do it right. And
have you seen The Founder? Have you seen the movie The Founder?
No, I don't think I have.
The story of Ray Kroc. Great movie. Great movie. And yeah. He calls them back. He calls the two McDonald brothers back and he says, I'm not making any money. We're not making, we gotta go ahead and renegotiate the contract. And they go and said, we can't do that. And he's like, can't or won't. And then he hangs up on
them. Yeah, exactly.
So questions, Luke?
Do we want to do something with Michael? Does Dreamscape want to do something with Michael?
I don't know. Do they?
I'm open to hear. I didn't know exactly what direction we were moving, but I knew we were talking.
So Luke and Kenny are both Amish. I don't know how much you know about the Amish, Michael.
Not a huge amount, other than I have them build cabinets for me and do different projects, do different metal siding and barn building. I know they're quite quite hard workers and disciplined, and strong believers with family.
So, Luke, do you have any coaching advice for Michael?
Don't believe what you see.
There you go. Hey,
I was not expecting that.
I says the persona out there looks good. So I guess.
Okay. All right. Now I love to be caught off guard. That I was not expecting. Do you have any coaching for Michael as it relates to connecting with me, Luke?
Come on time.
Yep.
Oh, he's a white male over 50. He doesn't have to come on time. It's totally okay. Like when you're a white male over 50 in business, if you're late, there's always a good reason. You don't even have to say it. You just know, because everybody knows white males, the only time they don't come on time is when there's a good reason. And they don't have to explain themselves because they're a white male. No, that's okay. It's not a big deal. Any other advice, Luke?
I don't know.
So one of the things that Michael, even though he's known me for almost 20 years, he hasn't picked up. He's like my wife. She uses a lot of words.
Yep, that's true.
And so what you can do, Luke, is when we're working together with people, you can say, how do I say this? Like with Mark, what I have found is the less words you use, the more he likes you, and the less he'll irritate you. so, so Michael could have said, not so much, or some. He doesn't need to give me details, but without all the details, then we wouldn't have had that laughing
Right.
moment. So I'm glad he did give details this time. But normally, yes, no, I'm not sure. Anything we can do to keep the details small. Now, I wasn't asking Michael if Dreamscape wanted to work with him. I was actually asking Dreamscape if they wanted to, Luke.
There's depending on what Michael wants from Dreamscape, there's a maybe like a 25% chance.
So what you don't understand about Michael is that he's fine with not working with Dreamscape.
Uh-huh.
Most white males over 50, you know what? They don't need any more opportunities. Now, you guys could have had Peter Smith on, and so he's doing that $20 million solar project for one of the largest or the largest farm, maybe in Wisconsin, I don't know. And Michael might know him, might be neighbors, who knows? You know, Wisconsin's like the Amish, Luke. Everybody knows everybody else. Everybody's related to everybody
Uh-huh.
else. Everybody's connected.
Everybody shows up at the fish fry on Friday night.
That's
That's where all the
exactly
stories
right.
are told.
There's a reason. There's a reason stereotypes are stereotypes. So Luke, with white males over 50, they're not probably going to sell you on working with you. You have to
I have to
sell
sell
them.
them. Yeah.
Michael, with Amish, they don't learn English until they're 6 years old on average.
Okay.
Most of them go through, 8 years of school, and then most of them are done after eighth grade. In the English world, this is a foreign concept. like what? From my perspective, this is what makes the Amish so smart. Honestly, I'm dead serious. I'm not joking a bit. Like I've said for years that grade school teachers are amazing. Middle school teachers, I'm not so sure. High school teachers, not as strong as middle school and not as strong as grade school. And college, don't even want to talk about college teachers or professors. If anybody's listening and you're a teacher and you're not in elementary education, I apologize. I'm joking. Well, kind of. So, anyways, the Amish, and when I say Amish, I'm not saying 100% of the Amish 100% of the time, which is obviously true, I would think, but we tend to go ahead and have struggles with not, like not understanding when Mark's saying something, he's saying in his experience with, this is more true than not true. So in my experience, the Amish have a much, much higher propensity for a desire to learn and have higher curiosity. And they tend to pick up things really fast. Like it's crazy, especially if it's with the hands, but it's not just with hands. It's some often with technology. And so I don't know what it is, but there's a hunger and thirst for knowledge and experience. They tend to be far more doers than thinkers. The perfect blend in business is the perfect blend between thinking and doing. People who think more should do more. People have a tendency to do more, need to learn to think, because your perfect productivity is the perfect blend between thinking and doing. And so you're literally, when you're talking with the Amish, you're literally talking with someone that English is their second language. So it's almost like talking to somebody like from China, you know, or the Philippines or something. And so when they're talking Amish Dutch around you, it's not to be rude to you. I mean, sometimes they are saying stuff about you that they don't want you to know. Sometimes, but that's not the majority of the time. The majority of the time, they're saying stuff in Amish Dutch because it's faster. It's more efficient for them because it's their, one is their native tongue, their language, what they grew up with, and two, it's because there's less words in Amish Dutch than there are in English. So they don't have the nuances. Like, we don't have nuances even in Wisconsin for snow. My understanding is, I think in Alaska, they don't tell you it's snowing. They have, like, I don't know, 30 different words for snow. And so we say snow, we're like, it's snowing. But in Alaska, it's like 30 different words for snow, and based on that one word. So it's a more complicated, you know, it's more complicated because there's more words, but it's more precise in the communication. So anyways, so I think that Michael wants to work with Dreamscape, and I think Dreamscape wants to work with Michael. I think you both would benefit, you know, I think you both would benefit tremendously by working together.
Okay.
Questions, anyone?
I'm like I said, I'm open to talking about the.
No, I already
the
know
idea
that. So I'm not looking.
and
So
sharing an
they often
opportunity.
won't talk a lot. And that's what they're working on. They're working on being able, they tend to be, I don't know, more shy or more reserved. So they tend to go ahead and not speak as fast. So Luke and Kenny are working on learning to speak faster. So go ahead, Luke. Any questions or thoughts?
Why would you think that?
Why would I think what?
That Dreamscape wants to work with, or Michael wants to work with Dreamscape?
Because you and Kenny are amazing. The Amish are amazing. He's not going to find what you and Kenny and the Amish can do in any other group of people or any other people. Like, they're just not out there from my experience. And I have a lot of experience. I've worked with a lot of people. I think you guys will actually listen to him too. Like, and he can beat the living daylights out of both of you because you both go ahead and work with me on a regular basis. So you're used to it. Michael will be nice compared to me. Maybe not on the job site. He might not be. He might be a lot more brutal than I am. So that would be good for you guys. Other questions, Luke?
No. Well, yeah. Why would Dreamscape want to work with Michael?
The guy's amazing. Like, he's got decades of experience. He's been in the same place his whole life. He grew up on a farm there. That means his dad and probably his grandfather. He's like the Amish in Wisconsin. He knows everybody. He's connected to everybody. The guy's he's done all aspects of real estate and development. The guy's a walking encyclopedia. And because he's a white male over 50, nobody listens to him. Nobody appreciates the sacrifices, the knowledge, the talent, the connections, the wisdom he has. So when you guys have been trained on how to actually appreciate and show value and honor to the white male over 50, which nobody knows. So he'll actually Like, wow, these guys actually show respect. These guys actually listen to me. These guys actually, like, they actually are teachable and coachable. And like, I have renewed hope for America. He will think, wow, I'm like, this is like living heaven on earth. That's why he'd like to work with you guys.
Cool.
All right, we got to jump to the next one. Michael, do you have any questions or thoughts?
No, not a whole lot. I do have a little bit of an update on that. If you're still considering the Cottage Grove Road subdivision project,
Yep, yep.
apparently I followed up with him about a week ago just to see how he was and how things were, and he had said that he's got a pretty good sized builder that's very interested in it and is speaking with his bank about possibly buying the development.
Okay.
He hasn't. He says I haven't gotten an offer.
Sorry, you're cutting out. Okay, so well, Michael's, hopefully coming back in your grid soon. Um, this is a good example. Why am I not driving it through? Because if I drive it through, you guys, nobody else will learn how to do it. But if you don't drive it through, you'll lose opportunities. And a lot of times when you lose opportunities, you never know you lost them. You just lose them. Like you're just aware. It's like you failed a class, failed a test, and you never got it back saying that you failed. You can't learn from something you don't know. Like you make a mistake. If you don't know you make a mistake, if you don't know you make a mistake, then you can't go ahead and, you can't do it. Does that make sense, Luke?
Yes.
So driving things forward in business happens fast. And if you're dinking around, slowing around, so that one guy I interviewed, he should be on. Should Peter Schmidt be on? Maybe. Should my Uncle Dave be on? Maybe. So you guys should be, should we have somebody from the Amish community? Maybe. So there might be, there might be, there might be a number of people. So you guys have got to go ahead and, you guys have got to go ahead and learn, like grouping people, like who are the players that need to be involved in here, and are we ready for some older Amish, the ones that have access to the funds? Maybe, I don't know. So there's all these different pieces that need to go, and if you're kind of thinking about it, analyzing it, pontificating, often if you don't jump in full speed, you're not going to get anything from it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So in working with the white male over 50, they're great to work with, but they often don't see the things that I see. Like I see the benefit in working with Kenny and Luke. It's very clear to me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be working with them. So there's a very clear benefit that I see to me in working with them. There's a very clear benefit I see in them working with Michael, but Michael's probably not going to see the benefit in working with them, and they probably aren't going to see the benefit in working with Michael. So I've got to create the connection between the two and help them both see, listen, guys, there's a lot of benefit. And, typically the younger ones are going to have to put in the work and the time and dedication and consistency. They're going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting. It's just how it works. But they're younger, right? So they should be able to do the heavy lifting. Don't worry about the white male over 50. He has probably done a lot of heavy lifting in his life, and there's a high probability he might be doing more heavy lifting than you even right now, even though he's older. Michael, you cut out right when you were saying there might be a banker, which is fine. The reason I'm encouraging this is not for that one project. It could be for yours, it could be for other projects. It might be that project's big enough to where that big builder might need, they might need additional work resources. And so there's multiple ways, multiple different pieces that where this thing could bring benefit. That seller of that owner of that property, Luke, could also go ahead and be invited to be on too. The more we have together, other people are not as patient as Michael and I are. Like, we look at this kind of stuff as kind of an artist with a canvas. Like, it's a blank canvas and we're just painters. This is what we do. Hopefully things work out and something beautiful comes from it. Hopefully we all make money in the process. But, Michael and I are not under as much pressure as we were 20 or 30 years ago to make money. So it's nice when we do, we like that, but it's probably not, an absolute requirement. Michael, anything else you got, sir?
Yeah, kind of, I agree on that. It's like, okay, I know something good will mature and come of it. Just stay with it, stay consistent, stay persistent, and good things will take place. So, and you're right, there are other aspects of that project that could be, that could be worked with. I totally agree with that and had thought about that part of it as well.
So if he sold some big developer and they're working with the bank, he's got, so I don't know if we do a podcast. And so Kenny and Luke, this is where you need to have the ability to move quickly within the Amish community. And so if you present something, an opportunity to the Amish community, like this opportunity now, and it gets snatched up, somebody else moves faster than you're able to move, it doesn't mean you've wasted time. Because the Amish, typically they're going to be older, often grandfathers or great grandfathers. So they're kind of like, Michael and I,
Right.
they're
steady, they're consistent.
Yeah. And so if they lose an opportunity because they didn't move fast enough, the next time they will be more attentive to that opportunity. So, and that's not their fault for not moving fast enough. If we don't have all of the marketing material or the presentation or whatever. So I might, it still might be worthwhile, probably still is worthwhile, Luke, to go ahead and get the owner on a podcast or get an owner on a recording like this and pitching his idea and having Michael and he pitch the idea. We get a recording. Maybe we get the Amish to, if we can get it. This is where Kenny, you and Luke need to be developing relationships before you need them.
Right.
You can't wait for an opportunity to develop the relationship. You need to develop the relationship and then the opportunity will present itself.
Yeah, exactly. Amen.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. And so I would say, Luke, that, touch base with Michael, schedule another time. If the owner is interested, which he probably would be, if he's interested in talking about the project, kind of pitching it, if we record it, then you guys could take it to, some of the elder Amish and say, here's an opportunity. Don't know if you'd be interested in it. And again, a lot of this stuff, the bigger the deal, the bigger the real estate deal, the more you've got to date around, the more dates you got to have. Like, you're not going to pull off the first one. Maybe you pull off one or two pieces and then you get stronger, and then you might have 3 or 4 or 5 pieces and then you get stronger. So each deal you get more skilled and accomplished, and you have the opportunity, you have the money, and then you have the expertise and the people to resource. That's what you need to do in the development side. So anything else that Kenny, Luke, or Michael have? All right. Good.
The only other thing is that the owner and I have spoken just real briefly about this as a possibility or an opportunity. potentially. So I think he's very down to earth, easy to talk to. And he'd be very willing, I think, to join us on a conference call. He's not very talkative either. But what he does have to say usually is pretty valuable. That's what
Right.
I've found over 25 years or better of knowing him.
Right. Often the people who talk the most, obviously present company excluded, but often people who talk the most have the least to say, and people who talk the least have the most to say. I've got an uncle that is an hour south of Madison. So I was talking to him this last week, and he said, "Hey," I said, "Yeah, we might have something going on in the Madison area." He said, "Hey, you've got a place to stay and visit, and my wife will fix you a great meal and stuff." So there are some connections that I've got in Wisconsin as well, and so, anyways, understanding that when you invest into stuff, even if you don't see a harvest right in that situation, you're gaining skills and connections and opportunities that are invaluable. And that's pretty amazing. So hopefully this podcast has been helpful.
Right.